Good morning, Hope Kids, and welcome to Sunday School Online. My name is Miss Grace, and I am the Sunday School teacher here at Hope Church. I am so glad that you could join me this morning for our new lesson this week on God's people in Egypt. Last week, you'll remember that we learnt about the plagues and the Passover, where God sent Moses to tell the Pharaoh to let my people go. And God punished Egypt by hardening Pharaoh's heart and sending 10 plagues, the last of which killed every firstborn in Egypt. So Pharaoh finally let the Israelites go, and they left right away. God led his people through the desert into the edge of a sea called the Red Sea. For this week's lesson, we are going to learn about the Red Sea crossing from the book of Exodus. It starts off with a sticky situation where the Israelites find themselves at the edge of the Red Sea, nowhere to go, and they hear chariots and horses, and they realize that the Egyptians are coming after them. And the Pharaoh had changed his mind, and he had chased the Israelites all the way to the Red Sea. So what did the Israelites do? Did they remember all of the plagues and God's goodness to them? Did they remember his power and his might? No, they didn't. They thought it was a trap, and they panicked. Exodus 14, verse 11 and 12 says this: They said to Moses, "Is it because there are no graves in Egypt that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness? What have you done bringing us out in Egypt? Is not this what we said to you in Egypt? Leave us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians. For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness." And then what happened? Did they die in the wilderness? No. God made a way. Through Moses, God parted the sea, and the Israelites could cross to the other side. Once they made it all across safely, God then closed the sea down on top of the Egyptian army, who had followed the Israelites into the waters, and the Egyptian army died. So there are many things that we can learn from this story, but I want to talk about 3. The first one is that God is faithful. The Israelites were fickle and they lacked faith. They doubted God's power. They were quick to forget his goodness to them, and they were quick to panic when they thought things were going bad. But God made a way for them, and God was faithful to Israel, even though they weren't faithful to him. The second is that to trust in the invisible God, we need faith. Having faith begins when God changes our heart and when we begin to take time to know him. We can get to know God when we go to church or church online, or when we do devotionals with our parents. We can get to know him by praying to him, by reading our Bibles by ourselves or with the rest of our family, and we can grow our faith by being obedient to God and by remembering his promises. And the third is that just as the Israelites were helpless, we are helpless to save ourselves. We will always need Jesus to save us. The Bible says in Hebrews 3 verse 3 that Jesus is greater than Moses. Just as God made a way for the Israelites through the Red Sea, God made a way for us through Jesus' death on the cross. Jesus paid our debt for our sin and reconciled us to God. Because of Jesus' sacrifice, we were made righteous. And people who trust in Jesus will escape the penalty of their sin and live for eternity with God in heaven. So that's it for this week. Download our app, Hope Reformed Baptist Church, on the App Store or on Google Play. If you go into the children's ministry, you'll find all of our resources for this week. There will be a parent's guide for mums and dads to go through the lesson with the kids, and with some discussion questions and some prayer, and just some activities to go through with the kids during the week. There's some colouring in, crosswords, dot to dots, and also some worship songs and a Bible story video link. So I hope this has been a blessing to you guys. I'm really missing you, and I've been thinking about you guys and praying for you all. I hope you are all doing well, and I'll see you guys next week. God bless.